welcome to the Carbitrage Podcast, episode 151. I'm Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host, Ryan Sinitsky.
Hi there.
And Jenna.
Hello.
Hi, how are you guys?
Bitcoin's a lot harder to buy on Robinhood than it is on
Coinbase? Yeah, Coinbase makes it pretty easy, but I don't really enjoy buying on any exchange anymore because they require so much really personal information just to buy and hold on there. I'm like, I understand if you want my information when I sell it, because then it would be potentially gains or tax loss. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I want to quick plug Patreon, patreon.com/Carbitrage. On this particular website, which is a platform for content consumers like you to support content producers like us directly, you'll find two relatively open-ended options we have for a monthly payment to us. One is $1.50 or more, and that's just a crisp high five from us to you and roughly a beer a month. The other one, I believe, is $5.
For us.
Yeah. Oh, just for the podcast.
Yeah. No, you're
And
not
really,
buying you a beer.
we are actually buying... Sorry, you are actually buying us a beer from a little over a year ago, maybe almost 2 years ago at this point, because we're so far behind on that. But we also have another level, which is a little bit higher, and that one will get you some swag. I know we've been saying this for a while. I actually did place an order for some shirts and koozies last week, so I will actually be able to distribute that to our patrons. Except for you, Tucker, because you wear a 5X, and I just cannot order one of those because it's too expensive.
What so my question is, do they actually say Carbitrage, or is it just a logo? Or
It says Carbitrage, and there's a logo.
Perfect. That sounds wonderful.
Beyond that, beer time. Looks like you've got a coffee beer.
I've got a coffee because I just
Jana,
woke
do you have
up.
a coffee
I do
beer?
have a coffee in a reusable bamboo mug.
Sounds good. I've got a cider. Sociable Cider Works. Something. It's in a koozie. I don't know. So
Yeah.
there we go. All right, Ryan, you've got the first topic. Take it away.
Well, actually, do I?
I think so. Yeah. Yes, you do.
Oh, I do. I'm sorry. I scrolled down too far.
That's just fine.
So we've all lamented the loss of the Toyota Previa since we lost the aforementioned Toyota Previa, as we all know.
Because it was great. Yeah.
It was
Rear-wheel
It was
drive,
everything. It was a
mid-engine,
rear-wheel drive,
manual.
manual option minivan. Well, Chrysler, weirdly enough, is offering us most of that.
Okay.
What?
Oop, this just
The
bumped down like crazy.
Pacifica is being offered with a all-wheel drive system that can go completely rear-wheel drive if needed.
So is it like a combustion engine front electric rear, or is it actually like a torque split gasoline?
It's a torque split all gasoline all-wheel drive system,
Well,
and
that's
then
pretty neat.
like on a Haldex system where you can program it to go 50-50 or whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can program the all-wheel drive system in this, and it can actually handle stock power going to the entire rear end.
So you can drift this minivan, is what you're
It's
saying.
potentially a drift van, yes.
That's
Hell
really
yeah.
cool. So look for these in your rental kiosk in about 6 months' time.
Yeah, I do want to note that Chrysler and van culture, they've been doing a lot of collaborating, and I feel like this might be part of the something involved from that relationship. So that's really cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean what's really cool is they actually made it all-wheel drive, and they only lifted it an inch higher than normal. So if you want to get a rear-wheel drive minivan and you want to lower it and everything, you can still put your stance pants on, and then
Here's my question. Are they able to maintain the stow-and-go seating in this one?
yes,
Okay.
that's unbelievable.
When they
isn't it?
did the Pacifica Hybrid, the plug-in one,
Yeah.
like it's all lithium batteries where the stow-and-go was.
Yeah.
But that one is all-wheel drive too. It's just through the road all-wheel drive.
So this one,
Yeah.
they were able. So the stow and go seats go where the lithium batteries would go.
Yep.
So they were actually able to run the drive shaft through part of that hole for the lithium batteries, and that's why they're doing this one as just a.
That's got to be a pretty skinny boy drive shaft.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, but I mean, it's gotta be small. It's not gonna be an F-150 drive shaft. I haven't personally seen it.
Right. But I mean, if you look at like CV shafts, if you make it solid steel instead of hollow, you could make it much, much narrower.
And then depending on the metallurgy that you choose, like you can easily make a drive shaft as skinny as possible.
Well, I choose carbon fiber.
Yeah, I mean, like if you look at like Honda drive shafts, you can get a 1,000 horsepower drive shaft that's maybe like a centimeter bigger than a 200 horsepower drive shaft from the factory. So
Yeah. I think it depends on where they put the carrier bearing and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, exactly. And then the actual metallurgy itself of the metal, like depending
You
on
gotta put a lot of pepperoni in the metal.
yeah,
and
you
it gets
put
way
the
stronger.
pepperoni in it helps.
The pepperonium.
But yeah, so I think it's just really cool that they're actually, while everybody else is abandoning the minivan platform, Chrysler's like going all in on it.
I just realized
Drift
it actually
van.
does
Yes.
say drift van in small text underneath the article.
That's why
headline.
I originally read it.
Very nice.
But I think it's actually really cool that while everybody else is abandoning the minivan platform as it's becoming cool again, that
Yeah.
Chrysler is actually like, no, you know what? We made this what it is. Like, we didn't invent
Well, in the U.S., yeah.
We didn't invent it, but like we certainly made this like the thing that's known for, and now we're gonna make it cool.
It was the Espace in Europe, and it was the Caravan in the United States.
Yes, it was. But
Right around the same time, though.
yeah, it actually.
I wonder if that was a coincidence.
No.
Yeah, probably not. That's cool, though. I mean, I see they did a facelift, too. It actually looks pretty good.
Yeah,
I wonder if they're going to keep the plug-in option, too.
when I first saw the Pacifica, I had zero faith in it. Like when I was at the Chicago Auto Show with Ben from Japanese Nostalgia Car, I had such like Ben was like blown away, and my whole thing was, this is a Chrysler. He goes, yeah, but look how great this is. I'm like, this is a Chrysler. This is going to
and you
suck.
hear Pacifica, and all you think about is these
Awful.
clapped-out
Yeah.
pieces of crap that are poorly maintained and falling apart.
Exactly, and and Ben was saying, yeah, but this is actually a very good van. And I said, I understand it's a very good van, but at the end of the day, it's still a Chrysler product. So there's a very high likelihood that this is going to be a giant steaming pile of trash. And so
Yeah.
far, all the ones I've actually been in have been holding up very well.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I think these largely, even the first gen, new. Okay, so
The pre,
the minivan
yeah,
one
the
of the
minivan, yeah.
Pacifica, they kind of worked out the valve seat issue on the Pentastar V6. I mean, that used to be the big problem with the heavier vehicles with that
Yeah.
V6, is they would heat up so much where it would actually drop the valve seat out of the cylinder head.
That's a problem.
And it would cause a lot of damage. But I think that they've fixed this. And it's actually, that V6 is a derivative of a Mercedes design, which is
And
been around
if
for a long
you
time.
really want to get awesome, you can put the Maserati cylinder heads on it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because that's
Yeah.
shared with the Levante. So yeah, you
Yeah.
could supercharge it and put the fancy cylinder heads on it.
Yeah, you make it because I think it's like a wide valve angle dual cam or something. Like they did like a bunch of cool stuff on it, and I know that
Well, it's like the Mercedes 190 back in the 80s. Like it was the same block as the Peasant one. It just had a really worked over cylinder head by a different company.
yes, and well, it was like the Ghibli, I think, or whatever it is.
Yeah, the Ghibli and the
that's the
Quattroporte and the Levante all have that V6.
Yeah, so and that literally is a Pentastar because whenever we have to work on
Yeah, it's the
Maseratis
little
at work,
one. Yep.
we buy spark plugs based off a Jeep part number and they bolt right in, and then we charge the customer for normal spark plugs.
Well, yeah.
And
If
everything's
you know the
fair.
interchange, yeah.
It's
the
everything's
same
fair.
exact
'Cause
OEM
I'm not
plug, so-
overcharging the customer for like the Maserati part. I'm just buying the exact same part from somebody else.
No, it's like the Dayco timing belts I put in that car. They're the same Dayco timing belts, but they don't have the Ferrari stamped after the Dayco logo, and they're 1/10 the price.
Perfect. What do they fit then?
The 355 and the 360.
And they were just Dayco, and Dayco.
Dayco makes them for Ferrari, and they also
Oh.
will sell them to you.
Oh, I didn't know that they
Yeah.
actually made them for Ferrari.
Yeah, Dayco makes the Ferrari timing belts.
Dayco's a good company.
Yeah, seems fine. Even
Yep.
the belts I pulled out were Dayco, and they were in fine condition, shall we say?
Perfect. So, yeah, Italian things are wonderful, and they just make everything better. It seems like because
Well, that's true.
yeah,
And especially when you have some sort of plug involved, and I'm guessing they're still going to maintain the plug-in hybrid option for the Pacifica, which is my favorite.
yeah, and well, I'm the plug-in hybrid option's cool. I really like the I like
drift
this all-wheel
van's
drive
pretty
is gonna be
cool.
really great, but yeah, the plug-in hybrid currently is the best one that you can get.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing these power slide it. Like I said, you rent one and you take it up to the track and you drift the minivan.
And you can put the Maserati cylinder heads and supercharger kit on it, and really just have a party.
Make some sweet exhaust noises. I want to talk about another Italian, also
Okay.
from the same company. We rue and lament the loss of the Fiat 500.
Yes,
We talked about
rip.
this. It
We're
got
so
canned
sad.
fairly recently.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're getting it again, at least not
Aw.
short term. But it's coming back. There's going to be a third generation Fiat 500, and it's coming
Hell
back
yeah.
as the E.
Yes.
Oh, that's really cool. So
Yeah.
it's it's to compete with the Honda Urban EV.
Yep. Also another great vehicle that we don't get here.
So we're
I
not
see
getting
this
in
one
America.
is the
No, we're not getting
cabriolet.
this.
Are we?
This is a first gen. That's just a caption image.
Okay.
I
So
think
I
this
got
is
really
actually-
excited because I was like, EV convertible?
Well, I mean, I'm sure they will offer that at some point. 'Cause
That'd
there's no
actually be
reason
very
why they
cool.
couldn't do it before. I mean, you could make one from an E in a
Yeah.
lounge right now, but the 500E has been spotted in very heavy camouflage in its third generation form, doing powertrain testing recently.
I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, and I will be curious to see how it compares with, the Zoe. That's really the entry level, longish range city car EV over there. The Mini SE EV that's coming out, that's actually a really good vehicle on paper.
Yeah,
Obviously,
it's a
we don't want to
Mini.
overlook the Honda because that thing's a very well drive and awesome, even though it's very expensive.
Yeah, but I mean, it's wonderful. It's wonderful in every way.
Here's the camouflage version. Clearly just a second gen 500 in very heavy camo, but again, powertrain testing.
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see if they incorporate things like level 3 DC fast charging. I'm sure they will because they're able to redo the sheet metal now because this thing's been in production for 12 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're still making it. Just
really
not for us.
Hope Mike Scott, whatever the fuck, Manley.
Mike Manley.
Yeah, Mike Manley just gets his shit together and lets us have the cool EV.
Seriously.
As soon as Sergio Marchionne died, I said this guy's gonna ruin it because this guy's from Jeep. Like he's gonna take away the cool car, and we're gonna be stuck with a bunch of Jeeps.
And look at us now.
Yeah, now we don't have the cool car. We're stuck with a bunch of
And
stupid
we're not
Jeeps.
even stuck with the one cool Jeep, which they used to make, which was the Renegade manual all-wheel
Yeah.
drive.
Oh,
with
and
the Fiat
and
engine.
they're trying to keep us from being able to get an actually good Jeep.
I mean, the Wrangler with the 2-liter? Or the diesel?
Yeah, the Mahindra Roxor.
Oh, that too, yeah.
That's the cool Jeep.
But we can't even gloss over the fact that they make a turbo diesel manual Wrangler 4-cylinder.
What?
I'm pretty sure. I think they offer a 4-cylinder diesel in Europe, and I'm almost positive in the JL you can get a 4-pot turbo diesel manual Wrangler in the other
That
parts of the
sounds
world.
That'd be awesome.
wonderful.
I'm sure
Wow.
Scott will correct me if I'm wrong, but
I'm sure that Mike Manley goes, "Ooh, Americans don't want that," and everybody in America wants that. It sounds wonderful. So,
seriously, I know a lot of people that really prefer the diesel option. We get the VM Motori 3-liter, but only with the auto.
yeah,
I mean, that's
I don't want
still
that.
a good option, but I mean, you get the Pentastar with the 6-speed, so why would you not do that? Mm-hmm. And then throw the Maserati cylinder heads and blower on it.
Exactly.
Can you imagine driving a Wrangler Unlimited that just sounds like a Levante?
Actually, I'd be
That'd be
really into that.
amazing.
I would buy a Wrangler at that point. That'd be super cool.
That would be kind of cool.
You know, that's one of those examples of an engine that's really, really dumb in its factory form.
Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
once you swap it into literally any other platform,
It's like a
suddenly the
Nissan
best
Leaf.
thing.
I mean, I was talking to a dude down in Texas, and he's like, "You want to buy a Nissan Leaf?" I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, the components are way better to work with. They're much smaller, but also that drivetrain's rubbish in this car, but it's great and everything else." And it's like,
I imagine this guy's from Britain or something.
yeah, he had a very thick accent, but a very, very nice guy. I'll talk about it later.
That
But-
sounds hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you went to EV World. Or
Yeah, and
whatever.
actually,
EV
I'm
World.
not sure if it's this week or next week. I'll talk.
It is.
It
this
is this week.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. Yeah. So I mean, like America, we love subcompacts. It's just, and that's the thing. It's just like we have so many people that live out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Where they buy trucks, which makes
Yeah.
sense if you live in the
Well,
middle
there's
of
a
nowhere.
lot more distance between everything where these people are.
But I mean, like it's one of those things where you're gonna want to turn off the sound there. There you go. It's one of the things where it's, if you live in Kansas, it doesn't make sense to get a subcompact. But if you are the other half of the population that lives in like Los Angeles, yeah, you should get a subcompact.
And it's kind of like all of our like public transportation issues. Like, it doesn't exist out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of like Nebraska, where it's only farms.
Right.
But like in the city, we're really desperate for these vehicles, and
Now we don't
the
get 'em.
entire week we've been looking at the new Accords, being like, gosh, those are so big. Or my sister's Kia, when parked next to my van, is the exact same size,
Yep.
even though
Kia
that it's a
Optima,
sedan.
we should say. Yeah.
So it's just like,
yeah.
we want the tiny cars.
I looked at Gibbs 2013 5 Series next to the M5 when I was in here doing the water pump.
Yeah.
I opened the door to pull it out or whatever. I looked at them both. I'm like,
The
the 39 is tiny. That's like a 1 Series now.
We saw a 10th generation Civic drive past a CD Accord, and it was literally the same wheelbase.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
the same size as the Accord.
And it's just like, it's so much wider now, too.
And nobody wants that. Because like in Puerto Rico, they they have tons of small cars, and they make do with them. They don't just make do, but they make awesome.
Well, and they always swap the engines too with either a rotary or some sort of Toyota
something or other.
Yeah.
And so actually, I found a video on YouTube of a guy who had a 96 or so Toyota Tercel.
Oh.
With the video is entirely in Spanish. It's from Drive and PR, Drive in Puerto Rico. But yeah, this is a V6 Camry powered Tercel.
Which
turbocharged
Camry motor?
I believe it's probably a 3-liter.
So it's, okay, 1MZ probably.
Yeah,
okay.
so like a 1MZ, because that's like their kind of go-to engine.
I wonder if it's a 3VZ if it's turbo, but I guess I'll play this.
Pretty awesome.
and we
The
can-
sound's playing right now for everybody.
It's on very minimally for the stream, so it should be
cool.
okay.
But yeah, I mean, like, it's a totally gutted out, like 96, 97-ish, like mid-90s Tercel coupe. And the guy has put a V6 in it and turbocharged it.
Oh, yeah, that is definitely an MZ series.
Yeah, so MZ Series V6. And it's got, it's actually probably the best looking Tercel that I've ever personally
I
seen.
cannot believe that fits in there.
Puerto Rican people will fit anything into, if there is enough
That
square
suspension
inches.
looks like it's not coping well, though. There's a lot of lateral movements.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fun on a. Oh man, look how squirrely it is.
Oh yeah, well most of the cars I see from Puerto Rico, like they have like 80 horsepower at most factory.
Sure.
And then somebody's just found a way to make 300 or more horsepower on it. Like,
That's true. This probably had a 2 or 3E in it when it was sold.
Yeah,
Which is, what, a 12-valve piece of garbage.
It's a really awful, truly awful engine.
That is one of the only bad Toyota engines.
Actually, in Puerto Rico, there was a dual vert cam performance Tercel that they made, like just for the Puerto Rican market.
With, 4 EFTEs and 5 EFTEs in them.
Yeah, it was something like that. But like you could actually get like a pretty quick Tercel, and so in Puerto Rico, there's actually a small, like a pretty tight knit but small community of people that love Tercels, and like that's what they race are just Tercels, because it's like the modern equivalent of like a Starlet or something.
Sure.
Toyota's smallest.
Oh, and they
car.
are so light.
Oh, they weigh nothing.
Had no equipment. They were so light.
No, and it's actually a really, really dope car. So
there's some fab pictures in this.
Yeah,
video.
the dude actually like built all this.
Is it a twin or a single turbo?
I think it's a single.
Okay.
I didn't sit through the entire video, but I'm pretty sure it's a single. But
wait, that's a 4-cylinder he's got it mocked up on. I wonder if he started with a 4,
then went to a 6.
to the
yeah,
1MZ. He's
but
like, this just isn't enough power. Oh yeah, okay, so that's a 5 EFE with a turbo bolted onto it.
But yeah, so we'll share this video on the Carbitrage website or on the Carbitrage Facebook page.
Yeah, we can put it on there. That under hood picture next to it, that was still with the 5 EFE. So I'm curious when he went to the V6.
Yeah, so it's a really cool car. And again, like I said, this video is entirely in Spanish. It's made for Puerto Rican people. And I just happen to find it because this is what I like
the
at
title
YouTube.
is in America speak.
Yeah, but this is just the stuff that like pops up on YouTube for me because I've like finally curated everything on my computer to think that I'm actually Puerto Rican.
When you don't share a YouTube login with somebody else, you can actually do that.
Oh
Really
yeah,
curate
it's
the
really great.
recommendations.
I've curated them perfectly.
I have not been able to do that. Mine's all stuff I want, and then cruise ship crankshaft videos from Corey.
Like, no one logs in to my YouTube because it's the same YouTube I've had since, like, middle school.
Oh, it's a Camry V6.
And
Oh, it's a GR.
Oh, that's cool.
Sorry.
and I just, like, I get really stuck on, like, one creator for, like a week. And I just go through, like, all
Just
their
binge
videos.
it?
Yeah,
I
and
do
so,
that,
like,
too.
I get a lot of BuzzFeed videos because,
Oh no.
like, I
BuzzFeed
like...
Unsolved is real good.
Yeah, because
Is it as good as Casually Explained?
Yeah. No, it's imagine me and Blake like ghost busting together.
no.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
is this
it's
Blake
great.
like being like really serious and me just
But
like
they also do true
screwing
crime,
around the whole time.
so like it's great. So like there's like I get a lot of like BuzzFeed recommendations that aren't like actually tailored to me. They're just like, you like BuzzFeed, here, blah. and then that's like all the recommendations I get.
That kind of reminds me of BuzzFeed in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you like...
We're going to
Exactly.
give you 800 things you're not interested in.
And then all the creators that you like on BuzzFeed leave, and then they create their own YouTube channels, and then it's amazing.
So-
but now YouTube's also dying, so where do they go next?
I don't
I don't know, but
I'm-
Watchers, it started on YouTube, and that's the guys from BuzzFeed Unsolved, and one of the dudes from Worth It, and that's easily my favorite
you
YouTube channel
can still
now.
get heckin' viral on YouTube, but I'm just curious what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I know everybody's trying to get on
Well,
to that. So if you guys
that's
know,
the-
let us
Yeah,
know
drop
before.
us a line.
Well, that's
Because
the
let us
thing.
know before it dies, because I don't know what I'll do without YouTube.
Well, no, that's the thing, though, is, if you're a video game developer and you're developing for the PlayStation 2 in, 2005, or a video game developer and you're developing for PS2 in 2005,
Right.
you don't know that the Xbox 360 and the PS3 are about to come out
You
2
do,
years
though,
later.
because you're going to have a dev kit.
Yeah,
they're gonna
no,
be under embargo.
well, the dev kit came out a year later. That's what I'm saying.
No, a year before.
No, the PS2 or the PS3 came out in 2007.
2006.
Okay, well, whatever.
But I'm saying in 05, they would
year,
have had a
year
PS3
before
dev kit,
year
though.
before the dev kit came out.
Okay.
You're still developing
Right.
stuff for the platform that you have, and
Sure.
then you're just gonna port it over to the new platform.
Well,
And
it's like
then-
developing performance parts for a last model year of something before they change.
Exactly.
So,
Like if you're developing stuff for a B series and then
before
surprise
the K.
K comes out,
although you're still going to sell a crap ton of B series
yeah,
parts. 'cause
yeah,
it's a
you're
great platform.
you're cashing on the B series, and then everything in the future is gonna be for the K. And so that's just what people are gonna do with YouTube. Is everybody says, oh, it's dying, it's this, it's that, but I mean, what are you gonna do in the meantime if it is just you're gonna continue using YouTube? you
Yeah.
know? You're gonna continue using iTunes until Spotify comes around.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
so-
now I don't use iTunes at all.
Exactly, because iTunes is terrible.
God,
Anyway,
yeah.
I'm not going to keep this video going because it's 17 minutes long, but we will drop it on the Facebook so you
Yes,
can watch
that
it.
will be on Facebook.
It is a 2GR, which is really
I heard
badass.
iTunes and I was immediately repulsed.
I liked iTunes. It used to be good, and then they did one update where everything got moved around, and then I never
That's
opened
why
it
I'm
again.
repulsed.
Yeah, me too.
Also around the time when their mobile devices could be set up without iTunes, though, so that helped a lot.
So
Yeah,
they're
that
just
is nice.
now we're just gonna kill it.
but my iPod videos hard drive crashed, so I'm without an iPod, so I'm really salty at Apple.
That sounds like Apple planned obsolescence.
Not as much now as it used to be. It really
It
was
was
a
really
huge
bad.
problem before.
Well, it's
Like,
because people quit buying their stuff because it was all planned obsolescence.
now you can have a phone that technically lasts 5 years, which is impressive.
That is impressive.
How long ago did I work at MA Performance?
Probably around that long ago.
Yeah.
So this phone,
That phone's pretty old.
yeah, and I mean it works. I
I'm
mean,
surprised the battery's holding up, really.
yeah, look at that phone. Me
Oh,
too.
dude, it's
You
it's
can't
great.
see it, but I mean, you
It's
can kind of
destroyed.
see the chunks missing on the
Chunk.
glass back piece.
Yeah, my brother goes to grab his phone, and we're all like, no, 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 no.
Yeah, it's really nice. Nobody wants to touch this, so nobody steals my phone. Cause
Do they make like a plastic thing you can put over the back that's
Yeah,
fitted?
but he doesn't.
Oh.
yeah, but this phone also is prone to overheating. It's the S7.
Ah.
We know what happened to the S7 Note.
I was gonna say, is that the one that they made a Note version and then it caught on fire?
Yes,
Yep.
and I
Okay.
totally believe it because this one gets real hot.
Yeah, I think he got this on sale because they're like, oh, the notes are exploding. We gotta.
Like,
Let's shift these
This
real
one,
quick.
this one did not have the Note problem, but boy howdy, do I believe it! Like if that battery is a little bit bigger, it would totally light on fire.
Okay. Okay. Well, speaking of, I guess I'll use that as a segue. Slightly bigger battery. I want to talk about actually probably my favorite long-range EV that's on sale right now in the United States, and that is the Jaguar I-Pace,
Okay.
also pronounced Ipache.
Apache.
Ipache. Ipache. Thank you. Actually, yeah, it's Ipache. So they didn't.
I don't know how
change.
I feel about the I-Pace. I've yet to see one in
It's
real
a
life.
wagon that they reduced the ability of storing a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is the thing. I've never actually seen one in real life.
Oh, dude, we'll be at the auto show shortly. Just check one out.
Well, I should say in the wild.
Oh,
Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
drive past a Jaguar dealership regularly, but
You see them all in Wyzetta and Orono. That's it. I don't
that's-
see them
that-
outside of there.
So it's rich white Gen Xers that own it.
yeah,
That's-
yes,
those are the only people that
Yeah.
live in that area.
really,
'cause-
really early Gen X.
because the boomers are getting too old, and if
boomers
if
don't
their
understand
if
what
their
this
walker
cord is.
if their walker tips over,
Well, if
they're
they-
never gonna be found.
The thing with the boomer is you get out to your garage in the morning and your walker trips over your J1772 cord, and then you end up in the hospital sooner. So
Well, no, because you live in Orono, and it's might as well be living in the wilderness at that point. So we should explain the geography around Lake Minnetonka.
where is it in relation to Buffalo, Minneapolis?
So Minneapolis is on the east side of Lake Minnetonka. Lake Minnetonka is this big, gangly lake, which I've never seen all of it.
It's like somebody projectile shat all over the topography of Minnesota.
It
and that is
looks
Lake
like
Minnetonka.
it looks like a Rorschach test. Is it Rorschach or was it
I don't know what you're referencing.
the ink blot test, Jana?
I should know.
Ink
what
blot
that is.
test. What are those called?
The Rorschach.
Rorschach test.
Something
enough,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
It's also the name of a
Watchman.
Yeah, Watchman.
But it
Oh, we have the Google right here.
yeah. So it looks like an ink blot test, but just stuck on a map. And
Rorschach.
This
It's
one?
RORSCHACH.
yeah, that vaguely looks like Lake Minnetonka, actually.
Yeah, okay, so this is Lake Minnetonka for all intents and purposes.
And so on the east side, it's like civilized because that's like near the city, and it's just like it's so big and gangly, you can't really develop around it very well because it's just that you can't have a straight line, you can't make a grid around it.
Yeah, there's no like smooth, contiguous shoreline. The whole thing is just like bits and pieces of spackle.
I wonder how many miles of shoreline Lake Minnetonka has, because it's got to be something just ludicrous, where it isn't just like your normal, like simple, like oval-ish shaped, lake. This is a bunch of small little bays and everything. It's 125 miles of shoreline.
Yep, 200 kilometers.
Yeah, so it's 125 miles of shoreline in an
here's an
area.
actual photo.
Yeah, there we go. So that's what it looks like.
I suppose I could have just pulled this up from the get-go.
No, it looks like a depiction of like the human intestine system. Like that's exactly.
Yeah, and the dark blue is where you need to poo.
Yeah. So there's each one of these small bays is a different town, and so when you're on the east side of the town, you're close enough to the Twin Cities where you can have luxury villas, but then you get to the west side of it, like
You're in the boonies,
You're
yeah.
in the boonies, and then like up north is a highway not too far away, so it's still kind of nice. So like Orono, where we see these
But
Jaguar,
there's nothing down there.
we see those Jaguar I-Paces around Orono. That's like that's for the rich people that want to pretend they live in the boonies but still be 5 minutes away from the highway.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what that is.
Yep.
Like that is the maximum range.
You see them over here.
Yeah,
This is very close to that point.
yeah. This is the maximum range of the I-Pace.
It was until this model year where they software unlocked another 30 miles.
I thought we were talking about Jaguar, not Tesla.
Yeah, we are. They're doing the same thing.
So they're just all doing that.
Interestingly enough, about a week prior to that, I was watching a Car Wow YouTube video where they took like an e-tron.
Okay.
The Ipache, which means poop in French. E-tron. A Tesla Model 3 long-range dual motor, a Kia Niro
Okay.
electric, a Nissan Leaf with the 62 kilowatt hour, so the extended range Leaf. Charged them all up, and they just caravanned until they pooped out.
Oh, which one lasted the longest?
The Tesla followed or preceded by, I think, the Niro. The Niro. Was
there you
second
go.
best,
Good job, not
because that was
Audi.
a very efficient vehicle. The Audi was the first to go.
Good.
It was terrible.
Yeah, I bet
Roughly
it
the
was.
same range as my car with 25 more kilowatt hours.
Good lord.
But anyway, the Jag was interesting because, you get down to these thresholds where the car starts complaining, like 20%, start thinking about a charger, 10%, find a charger now, like 6%, like you're past your nearest charger, bro, you're going to die. Then they got that thing to 0, and it went for another 30 miles at 0.
Oh my god.
So no wonder they can unlock that range because the car had it all along. They're just moving the software from where the battery says it's out.
To be fair, I can understand why they underrate that, because if you're telling somebody it's got a 200-mile range and it's got like a 215-mile range, like you know that every Karen in the world's be broken down on the far side of Orono, waiting for a tow truck for 2 days.
It's completely true.
Having
You
to,
look at American gas gauges; it says empty, and you've got like 5 gallons left.
It's true, and it's because because Karen's gonna take it too far.
Yep.
And you just have to like take your seatbelt and cut it out and like grab like a piece of metal and
use
make
the
a
glass brake.
make like a bow and arrow and like go hunt a deer while they're waiting for their tow truck because they're 100 miles away from anywhere, And
Also known as right here.
on like the southwest side
southwest corner of Lake
Minnetonka.
Minnetonka.
Well, no, they gotta like purify themselves
Yeah.
in the waters of Lake
Well,
Minnetonka.
Rebaptize.
While they're
Or is it like
while
in the
they're
middle of
spearfishing.
February?
Castaway.
Like, but if it's the middle of February and it's been below zero for like several weeks,
Mm-hmm.
there's
made
no
an igloo.
water to purify themselves in, so they're just screwed.
So if you ever drive past Lake Minnetonka, you're not
Prince
from
won't save
Minnesota,
them.
you're going to see a bunch of people have small houses on the lake, like physically on top of the ice.
Mm-hmm.
Those are actually stranded motorists who have cut down trees and are still awaiting tow trucks.
They're just trying to shop
Yeah,
for
and
sustenance.
and
nature.
they're fishing for sustenance, and that's
You're going to
actually
see a lot of Ipaches parked
Yeah.
next to these
so
fish
all of
houses.
them. That's going to be every single one of them. And by 2022, the Lake Minnetonka is going to be completely undrinkable. It's going to be full of lithium-ion batteries.
No, I'm sure they will subsidize chargers on the lake. Over the winter,
Temporarily.
it'll be fine.
That'd be hilarious, and just like one high voltage power
Tesla,
line laid through the
please
snow.
put a supercharger in the middle of Lake Minnetonka.
That
for
would
the
be
winter.
wonderful. I would be a big fan of
Because
that.
what could go wrong putting 1,000 kilowatts of DC
Into
on
a-
frozen water?
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
I think it'll be fine. Anyway, that's maybe got a bit too
So-
far. But I love the Ipache. I'm glad they're doing this. It doesn't seem to affect the EPA range because they didn't actually change the vehicle. But
That's great.
yeah,
So
there's that.
with the Apache and the people that live in Orono, previously those used to be like the Mercedes kind of S-Class, the W126 crowd.
And then they went into their 140s.
Yeah,
they got
and
their
that-
220s.
now they've got their crossover sort of
No,
weird
now they're
thing.
in a GLS.
Yeah, they are. And the GLS are a Apache. Well, so I was on Bring a Trailer and forgot for what
Oh.
reason I was here. I found
Wow.
the car that I missed. It's the perfect Mercedes S-Class, and it got away.
This is great.
It's
It's a
a two-
short wheelbase, 6-cylinder manual.
AMG.
Oh yeah, and that's before AMG was AMG.
Yeah, so
that's
it's
even
a
cooler.
pre-merger AMG.
Look how body color
80
everything
yeah,
is.
83 Mercedes 280 SE 5-speed Euro. I found that
Euro.
I found this on it was a link to a Craigslist post from Florida that I found on Bring a Trailer from from August of last year, and I totally missed this
Dude,
one.
this is awesome.
Yeah, Euro bumpers and everything.
And the 280, that's the early twin cam 2.8 too.
Yeah, you're right. And when you look under the hood, just a twin cam engine, and it's cool.
I don't
as
want to
hell.
scroll past these pictures too quickly, but I'm gonna get to that engine. I'm gonna just hang on it.
But
Does this also have a hidden trailer hitch?
it might.
It looks
That'd
like
be
it
very
does.
cool if it did.
Oh man! Oh, look at the cloth interior at the AMG steering wheel.
And the manual transmission. You have to understand, cloth interiors were actually a luxury item.
In Europe.
Well, in America even in the 1980s. And there you go. There's Berger losing his mind over this dual overhead
That
cam
engine was
Mercedes
so
V6.
ahead of its
Or
time.
inline 6, sorry.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
M110.
That's a very cool engine. I know. I was looking at that. It's super cool. It's a wide valve angle and everything.
They
with,
sold these
like-
in Blubskis, brand new,
That's very
in
cool.
the last year.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, a 280 W115, super rare.
That would really boogie.
Yeah,
That'd be super
They're
duper
180 horsepower, 185 horsepower.
Yeah.
Oh, AMG camshafts, but still,
Yeah.
they were like 180 stock.
Well, no, 185 stock because it's a Euro engine, but then the AMG camshaft's given our 30
Oh.
horsepower.
Nice.
So
That's a great engine.
This is a inline 6 that makes as much power as a 560 SEL would have
Yeah.
made in that same era.
More actually.
560
They were
SEL.
under 200.
Oh, they were?
when they
Yeah.
were first launched.
So I just thought that was pretty much the perfect S class, and it got away. I'm really bummed.
That-
It even has like an era correct like Blaupunk CD player and
I'm
everything.
100% on board with this.
Yeah, this is a super duper cool
You know
car.
what this is? This is if you were born 10 years later, you would be looking at the 1989 R129 300 SL 5 speeds.
Like that.
Very similar.
Yeah, it's like that, just like that, exactly. Yeah,
Because I mean, those cars, they had the early M104, so you got
Mm-hmm.
the power, but they still had mechanical injection.
perfect.
They had the early garbage 129 interior that lasts forever.
Yeah,
And they had a 5-speed manual, which is, I'm sure, the same box as this.
yeah,
But
it
this
is
is-
very cool.
This is beyond great.
This is what Mercedes should make today, and it's since
no.
been. It's since
It
been
was
sold.
25 grand for those curious, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a short wheelbase, early 80s S-Class with a manual and
This
the
is a
performance
perfect
straight six.
example of why people love Mercedes.
Yeah.
Like, that's everything to love about Mercedes.
Yeah,
It
this is a greatest hits of the 126, and it was the first year.
I think this is the greatest hits of just Mercedes as a whole. A really kick-ass six-cylinder, a manual transmission,
Yeah.
super luxurious. It will never break. It is insanely old and not a reasonable purchase, but it will probably be more reliable than your daily driver.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what Mercedes is about.
And it's probably pretty fuel efficient, too,
Yeah,
honestly.
it is a car that is so far ahead of its time that's entirely unrealistic to purchase then and now. But if you do, you have made the best decision because you are going to actually get your unrealistic purchase paid off in a good way because you're going to be able to use this regularly.
I am one of the biggest Mercedes people I know, more so back in the day than I am now, but I wasn't even aware of this model.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
I thought they started with 300 SEs.
Nope,
The,
and
the
yeah,
M103, but
but
apparently the first year of
the
the US
280.
cars, you could get the M110.
So that's without a doubt the best Mercedes.
Also, can I
ever.
say that engine was old when this car was new?
I also want to say that there was somebody that spec'd this out that like could have had a V8, and they were
Yeah.
just like, "No, I want the actually good
Well,
one."
keep in mind, this would have been a 450 back at that time, but
Yeah.
still, that's a potent engine.
Well, not only that, you also have to keep in mind this is in Miami. This person was on cocaine when they
Fort Myers.
purchased this vehicle. Same thing.
Okay.
But, I
Well,
mean, like,
it
they were-
really isn't.
They were on cocaine when they purchased this vehicle,
Absolutely.
and they still made a great decision, even though they were coked out.
And it's in perfect condition.
I love this car
It's
so
got
much.
tubular stainless exhaust
Also,
manifolds.
it's got working air conditioning. Look at that
course it does.
R134A.
I was gonna, yeah, they
conversion.
put the caps on it. And This
Yep.
is an old, like, but it's a company that made these old AC compressors that like doesn't do it anymore, and they made like pianos or something.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, these were made by a completely just oddball company. You hear the name, you're like, what? It's like getting a General Electric, like-
Lawnmower.
no, like a piece of lumber from GE in the
Yeah.
19-teens. I'm like, what? GE? I'm like, yeah, they used to do everything.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a
Your
complete sidebar. but
Stradivarius
whoever got this
Pepper
car,
grinder.
very jealous. That's awesome. I
Somebody-
don't actually know who sold. It wasn't on BAT. It was just a
Yeah,
find.
it was just a find on Florida Craigslist. So
Wow.
there still is value in checking Craigslist for really cool cars because that's without a doubt the coolest car of all.
That's super cool.
I'm really annoyed that I cannot get that car. Are you as annoyed as I am?
Something in the same vein that's actually on BAT right now. Wonder if I can find this. There is a W124 wagon with a C36 engine in it and a manual on BAT right now.
I saw that and it's very cool. Did you see the Ponton wagon
Yeah.
that sold? Yeah, I sent
Yep.
that to Janice. She lost her mind because it had the red interior. Yeah.
Luckily, that one I lose my mind over less because it's, like you said, already gone. This 124 is active right now.
Do it.
I'm not doing it. It's going, I think, for a very fair amount of money for what it is.
Okay.
And that is way more than I'm willing to spend on any 124.
I understand
And
where
honestly,
you're coming from with
if I was,
that.
if I was doing a 124, I would make a wagon and a 500E Kith.
I think
Yes.
that'd be perfect. A 124, a 500 TE is what you could call it.
Yeah, like
That'd be
do
perfect.
the flares, do the big brakes, do the engine, but get rid of that crap ass automatic transmission.
Yes.
Anyway,
Those are quite good cars.
I'm very. What is the opposite of cross? Chuffed. I'm very chuffed at that 126. Anyway, completely switching veins. We alluded to it a little bit earlier, but
Down south,
the
south
guy,
of the Mason-Dixon line.
The guy that told me that the Nissan Leaf
Mm-hmm.
drivetrain is utter crap in the Nissan Leaf, but very good in other vehicles. I was at Fully Charged Live in Austin, Texas, just a couple days after we recorded the last batch of episodes, which
Yes.
you guys have been listening to the last 2 weeks. What that is, it's a British group of people, which is actually down to one dude now, Robert Llewellyn, who you all know from Junkyard Wars back in the day. He's that guy.
Oh, weird.
He's completely changed veins now. He's a green, aging, liberal hippie douche now. But
I'm gonna be right
they were
back.
they've done Fully Charged shows, like community gatherings in the UK for a couple of years now. They decided to finally throw one in the US, and
Woo.
they chose Austin, Texas. So
Which is interesting.
yeah, it's a great city. The actual downtown area is very interesting. So I went there with my brother, sister-in-law, and my niece.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, she's, as far as kids go, great, but it was still kind of a limiting factor for the show.
Yeah.
But anyway, lots of really great stuff there. Honestly, the highlights of the show, oops, I bumped my microphone. there were, plenty of Teslas. They were shuttling people in volunteer Model 3s and Models S and things like that. We actually got shuttled, I hitchhiked. We were about halfway walking from the parking lot to the show at Coda, and this lady in a Caucasian Model X stopped, let us in, just beautifully air-conditioned vehicle in the middle of a sunshiny desert of a day.
Perfect.
And I was asking her questions about her car because I saw the central entertainment panel was way more responsive than mine. I'm like, oh man, MCU2, jealous. She's like, yeah, it's a Raven. I'm like, okay, so that implies that it's a P100D Ludicrous. And then I got out and I noticed the brake calipers weren't red. I'm like, this is a 75D that this chick debadged and claims that it's a P100D Raven. It's like, this is pretty tacky. But anyway, the coolest thing I saw there by a mile, there was a third-gen Kia Soul EV from Canada.
Okay.
This couple drove this brand new thing that isn't available in this country
Wait.
Vancouver.
It didn't register with me that you said Kia Soul EV.
The new Kia Soul EV.
Which
there was
is
one
actually
there.
I'm really jealous. I saw pictures of it. Yeah.
It's the best. That is the best EV currently on sale in North America, from my perspective. Because it's
I don't think you're wrong.
really cheap. The base price is $35,000. It's eligible for the full $7,500 tax credit still because it's Kia.
Yeah.
And it's 62 kilowatt hours, heated steering wheel, heated seats. It's a hatch.
Yeah, it's
Great
perfect.
car. So these people drove 2,800 miles. Just awesome people. Sat in it. Interior felt great. Beyond that, Rivian, the R1T and the R1S were there.
Yes.
So I actually talked to a couple of very attractive booth babes from Rivian.
Woo.
Yeah, that's going to be a great vehicle, especially because they announced, I think around that same time, that the price they've been quoting us, the base price in the mid-60s, is actually a mid-range model. So they're going to have...
They're going to have a stripper that's
They're going to have a stripper that's pretty much as good with a smaller battery for less than that.
That's going to be great.
I mean, this thing, I looked underneath it, looked at all, it's really, really well built.
You know what I haven't seen?
What?
I haven't seen any of the EV companies actually make a stripper where they make it faster by reducing weight, by like going the Porsche route.
And honestly, the first one we're going to see is a pickup truck.
Yeah, and I feel like it'd be really cool if, say, Tesla did like a Model S with like the P100D stuff, but like no optional extras at all.
Well, I was going to say do without the sunroof, but it turns out the sunroof cars are lighter, which is weird. But do cloth seats with crappier foam and take out a lot of that other junk, take out all the motors everywhere, do a manual hatch, manual mirrors.
Yeah.
It's already, if you take the battery out of a Model S, it's 3,000 pounds, which is really light.
Yeah.
But I bet you could take another 600 pounds out of that car.
You can make that a normal car weight. I think that'd be
really
hilarious.
Do a P100D club.
Yeah. I think that'd be really cool.
Maybe they should do it with a Model 3 Performance.
I think a Model 3 Club would be really cool. Model 3 Performance Club.
Because there are a few people that bought Model 3 Performances just to do that with.
Corey has arrived with hams.
Yeah, he asked me a bit earlier. We're going to be tearing into Kurt after this because he needs a lot of love.
Oh, was he need?
Oil filter housing gasket, oil filter cap. It needs a serpentine belt. It needs front brake pads and rotors. It needs all of the shocks and struts replaced. The Kurt's not had a lot of attention in the last. We should tell the listening audience, our sound engineer, Corey, who finally got through his plowed path through the wolves. Yep. He has a 2011 BMW 328i sedan 6-speed with no sunroof and only a heated steering wheel.
Yes.
I love it's got heated steering wheel and not heated seats.
Kurt is the best base model that has ever existed at any point in time.
1 second here. The heated steering wheel.
Yes.
I will venture to say is more important than a heated seat because my butt doesn't get cold. My phalanges do.
Well, you know what? You've got a layer of fabric between your ass and your seat already.
Yeah, you don't on your.
You got to wear gloves. Who wants it? No peasant has time for that.
Yeah, no, I have mittens in my car and I don't like having to wear them.
In the middle of the summer, you drive Kurt, you turn on the heated steering wheel and you crank the AC and you point the vents at your hands to try to even it out.
Perfect.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, so anyway, going back to
briefly want to talk about the three people I talked to. The reason I went to FCL was to talk to people that built their own EVs.
Yeah.
Because I want to figure out about charging. I want to figure out about battery management, inverters. I found this one British dude, the guy that told me to buy a Nissan Leaf because it's the best donor.
Yes.
He's like, do it. He had a pre-Gixxer. He had a pre-Gixxer crotch rocket there that he had fitted with some Nissan Leaf batteries
Okay.
A motor he bought from the Zero electric motorcycle company.
Oh, cool. All right.
And he had a homemade battery charger on it. So I picked his brain about how all that interfaces. Just a really, really cool guy. He gave me his business card. I'll have questions for him in the future. There's a guy with a really early Datsun wagon there that he had done
Very
a
cool.
forklift motor, which isn't as...
So you made Jeff.
They made Jeff with Tesla batteries, but apparently it was pretty sprightly.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it was a really cool show. I don't want to monopolize too much time with that, but I drove a Bolt for the first time. I actually drove one of these things. The newer one with the, I believe, same battery, but they improved the motor to just get a little more efficiency. But like that thing, they had a motor sitting out just cut apart, which things cut in half porn, best subreddit.
Yes, that's true.
Thing is punchy. I mean, it's not a light car, but I mean the thing was like just squatting all over the place when I laid into it. Really, really great. So if you're looking for a donor in the future, buy a Bolt. One of the people in the main convention area, which was completely overrun, I should mention this show had roughly twice the attendance they were expecting.
That's very cool.
Even though the main guy got like tooth cancer and had to fly back to Britain the day before the show.
Oh no.
One of the groups there was from Tulsa, a university there, and they had an EV1.
Yeah.
I saw pictures of the green one, right?
I took a couple pictures as the people were kind of filtering in and out, and I actually entered a raffle that turned out to be from these people for a Nissan DC adapter for my car. I'm just like, screw it, it's $10. I get a little Hot Wheels for entering in the raffle, but apparently I didn't know you also get to sit in the EV1. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I put all my crap on the ground and sat in there, and the guy was talking back and forth, and I actually know quite a bit about those things, and he's like, oh wow, okay, you're aware of these. I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely.
Extremely aware.
So the interior, so cool. It has like a Fiero shifter in the middle. It's got like first gen Prius, like right where the two A pillars meet the dash. There's like a black ribbon that's about 1.5 inches tall.
Yeah.
It was dark, unfortunately, because all of the remaining EV1s have been stripped of all their functional components, but. All the gauges were up there. It had a CD player,
Very
a
cool.
Delco CD player in it. And it had like a Saturn, box Saturn steering wheel in it.
I just want to explain. When I say I hate Bob Lutz, the EV1 is 60% of why I hate Bob Lutz.
Because he killed it.
He is the one that killed it.
And then I think it's ironic. I was watching a fully charged segment about a couple days ago. They finally put one out. They mentioned the EV1. Like, yeah, that's right when like fuel economy regulations were getting cut back, and they were drawing parallels to today, and Trump trying to pull them back and everything. Like they cut the EV1, crushed them, and then they brought out the H1 Alpha. I'm like, at that same time, I'm like, oh Jesus Christ.
They literally 180. That's.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, the highlights probably either the EV1, I think the couple people that brought their own homebrew EVs, and the Rivian stuff. I mean, I want to just briefly touch on the Rivian stuff again. They had their motor unit out. Yeah.
I was just say before we get to Rivian, I want to talk about homebrew for a second.
Yeah.
The Toyota Highlander hybrid. That rear end is a live axle with an electric motor on it.
No, it's independent.
They have a live axle.
The 400H and the Highlander first gen are independent. They use
I thought
CV
they were.
shafts.
But
they're a great option for homebrew stuff because they're pretty powerful. They're dirt cheap.
It takes up no space.
Yep.
At all.
Super tiny. I mean, they're still good for like, it's not much. It's like 70 horsepower.
But you know what that's really good for?
What?
Like a Datsun 510.
And also, when you put a better inverter on it, you can get way more power out of these things.
Yeah, you can do a Datsun 510. You can do like early Cressidas.
2002.
Yeah, 2002 would be really good.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like a Toyota Crown. Like if you get like a 50s Toyota Crown would be the coolest EV swap candidate.
Honestly,
it's a vehicle that engine does not exist anymore.
That's a great point. I think if you're going to do a homebrew EV right now, you buy yourself a junked Leaf. The motors apparently are a huge pain in the ass to run on those because they don't use regular sensing for position.
On the Leaf?
Yeah, but if you buy a 400H or a Highlander hybrid rear motor, and you buy a standalone controller or you build one, you can make all those components play nice.
So you get a really good Leaf battery, which is a huge aftermarket.
They're nice and small, so you can really fit them in around a lot of existing architecture. You don't have to cut a lot.
And we really have to explain like the 400H and Highlander rear end. That electric motor is the size of the differential.
Yeah.
Like
it's tiny. You could put it under any floor.
If you can put a Ford 9-inch underneath the vehicle, you can put this
even
EV
an 8.8
motor.
IRS.
Yeah, like you can like I say a Ford 9-inch just to give you a little bit of extra room to work. So if something breaks, like you can fix it on the side of the road. But like if you can fit like any muscle car rear end into it, a lot of actually another good one, early 50s American cars would be really good.
Those are fairly heavy though.
Well, not necessarily, because they didn't have any safety equipment. So like Studebakers and stuff,
true.
like they're about.
Well, Studs are tiny in
But
comparison.
well,
Yeah.
but that's what I mean, like the early '50s ones, like the weirdo ones. So like, because they weigh like 3,000 pounds. Like
Sure.
that's how much of
You,
that's how
you
much
would have
of,
no issue getting one of these
No.
up to highway speed with that.
No,
motor.
not at all. It's just like that'd be another really good candidate. So if you want to do something super cool and you don't want to put a V8 into it, like that'd be a really good option.
I agree, and like I am so 100% on board with the fact that like EV modding is the next thing.
I think, and a lot of people say they don't make noise. Like, no, they make a super cool noise.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like the world's angriest RC car.
We have an RX 400H as one of our runners at work, and like when it's, especially when it's cold,
Yeah.
like even with the sound deadening, like you hear all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, it's super cool.
Because
Yeah.
all you're hearing is gear drive, and like we like gear noise as petrol heads. Like
Yeah.
that's the majority of what we hear that isn't exhaust pulses vibrating our eardrums.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. It sounds very cool.
So anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but FCL, awesome. Go.
Let's talk about Rivian, though, because I interrupted you. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
so they had one of their motor units out, very compact, much smaller than the Tesla Performance unit.
Really?
Yeah, and it's got like a center unified thing that looks like a diff, and it isn't, because it has two completely divorced gear drives in it. That's how it can do its tank turn.
Okay.
But this thing, it was like clearly a prototype because it was all like milled CNC. This thing was a one-off. But
Oh, wow.
tiny, very power dense, really cool. It's nice to see that these AC induction motors, these permanent magnet induction motors, are getting common. So the price is coming down, and the more this stuff comes down, and the more it's kind of commonized and how it's controlled and read from, you'll be able to swap these in the future. For me, the motor unit was probably the most interesting thing. It obviously had air suspension, had really, really beefy double wishbone aluminum suspension, six-piston Brembo calipers.
So this is the thing. The air suspension gets me. I can't do that on a
Stuff
big
is
truck.
so durable.
Well, that's the thing is, like, yeah, it's durable, but I'm thinking 20 years down the line,
Yeah.
like, that clapped out, rusted in half F-150 that's still, like, working on a lumber mill.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm thinking of. So at some point, Rivian's going to be that, and at some point, Rivian is just going to be a pickup version of a Touareg.
Sure.
Because of that air suspension.
But I'm not sure how the Touareg did it exactly. But the Rivian, it was set up where it was a Unistrut like the Mercedes. So all you have to do is unbolt the top mount bolts and the bottom bolt, and just throw a spring and shock.
That's
in
how
there.
Touareg is too. It's
So,
just it. But I mean,
I get what you're saying.
at
It's
the end of the day,
inconvenient.
it's still a $1,400 component on a Touareg.
The spring conversion,
No, well, yes, actually, the spring conversions are super expensive, and then
they're cheap for the Mercedes stuff.
Well, that's the thing is like if the Rivian is shared between multiple models, yeah. But I mean, the Touareg fits the Touareg and the Q7, and that's why it's expensive.
Well, the Cayenne.
The Cayenne, but I mean, still,
That's
if it's
trash.
3 vehicles.
Fine. I
Yeah.
get your gripe about air suspension. I wish it wasn't standard.
Yeah, I wish I was an option.
Right.
And
I
so-
mean, it's good for a lot of what people do with trucks. One more point I want to bring up on that. The interior on that thing is like super soft touch, high finish from your waist up, and it's like Honda Element from your waist down.
That's what it should be.
Super durable fabrics, really hard wearing. They have like unzippable trash things in the door, so you can just empty the bottom of the trash out instead
love
of like
that.
yeah. They
That's
have
super
a
cool.
lot of really great ideas.
So it sounds like it's gonna be a really cool truck. It's just like my little quips are Rivian will share with Lincoln. Okay, so
I didn't know that. That's
All
pretty
right,
cool.
so
So,
that
if
actually
you
will
share
help.
with a mass
Yeah.
market component, you can get a Delco shock.
and then
like,
if
big
the
deal.
Rivian's gonna share with the F-150 and the Lincoln, then that's gonna be huge. And then they're doing their own in-house batteries. That's what Scott says.
They are doing their own in-house cells, and they're cooling them axially, which is, I think, a really horrible idea. But apparently they've done testing, and it's fine. What that means, Tesla, they pipe coolant between the stacks of these cylindrical cells, cools them really well, especially in the later ones. But what axial cooling is you group all these things together, you glue them together, nothing in between, and they actually put a metal plate on the top, and they run coolant through that plate. So you're cooling it from the end in. And
That doesn't
apparently
work
they've
as
done
well.
testing, and I would imagine that you're going to get a much more consistent overall cell temperature, but you're going to get hot spots in the
Yeah, you
bottom.
will.
So I
I mean,
don't like that. We want vans. We do want vans. Yeah, bring the Buzz, which apparently Scott was telling me he's on the wait list for one of these things. And
Yeah.
the name is still TBD, but they're built in Germany, so you might be able to European deliver a Buzz.
That'd be really cool if you could do that.
That'd be pretty sweet. Anyway, I am done taking up time with that story. It's really cool. I'll post the pictures that I took at Fully Charged Live to the Carbitrage Facebook if you want to see. And we're at 57. I guess I have enough time I could briefly cover.
Yeah,
Z8.
we're at 53 actually, but yeah.
Oh, not bad.
Please tell me this It was your Z8 story, because
I know, I've been alluding to
I
it for the
saw a
last like
photo
3 weeks.
of it. I haven't actually physically seen it.
Oh, we should go after the podcast. I'll show it to you. It's in the other unit.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So, long story short, we bought a Z8. So I've been searching 18 months for one of these damn cars. The BMW Z8 was made 2000 through 2003. 2000s were almost all pre-production. There were a couple of actual production cars really late. 01, 02, Butter Zone.
Yeah.
Full production years. 03, all automatic Alpinas. Don't even care
you
about
don't want
those.
it.
Super expensive because they're so rare. So we were looking for 01, 02.
Well, let me just tell you, the Alpina is not that rare, because when we went to Monterey Car Week 2 years ago,
Yeah.
that was like the standard car. You see them like you see G-Wagons at Car Week.
They made like a total of 1,000 worldwide.
I think probably all of them are there.
Maybe they're having their own little...
They honestly might have, because Jana, think about when we were at Car Week, all those BMW Roadsters with the super thin taillights,
Yeah.
the Z8 Alpinas, all the black ones with the red interiors.
Oh, that's my favorite
Yeah.
color combo.
Yeah, like we saw probably 4 a day.
And I was really sad because like G-Wagons, we all know, are like one of my favorite vehicles.
Well, they're great.
And especially to see, so like going out to LA, you see them constantly.
It literally numbs you
Like-
to them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You talk about jaded.
Yeah, and so like you see them everywhere, and you get to see like
Like
all the
USPS
different
is driving
like
G-Wagons.
all the different trim levels and all the customizations, and it's like really cool and really exciting. So I was like, Monterey Car Week's gonna be the same. I saw one, and it looked disgusting compared
Actually, we
to
saw
all
2.
the rest of
We
the
saw
cars.
2, because we also saw
Yeah.
6x6.
Oh, nice.
But anyway, but I mean, how many Z8s did we see though? Like-
Millions.
We saw more than we saw of G-Wagons. Like
Wow.
when
like
I
it was
say
like when you go to Beverly Hills and everybody's like G-Wagons are in the valet parking. It
Yep.
was like that, but with those.
But the
Yeah.
Alpinas.
Yeah.
there is, if you went to any given parking lot,
That makes
there's-
sense, though.
You would see at least one Alpina,
It's
and
the
it was
rich,
a different car.
unenthusiastic car enthusiast
Yeah.
vehicle.
That's what it is. It's an old rich guy car.
Yeah, it is. And that's why like the Alpina arguably fits the demographic that car was intended for better than the Z8.
Yeah, because that car to rich car enthusiasts
Yeah.
to the Japanese car enthusiasts is the Isuzu 117. It is the weird one that is super good, but everybody that owns it is just an old geezer. Because nobody under the age of 100 owns an Isuzu 117.
I will say 100% accurate because I looked for like a Z8 owners group and the only one that exists is a forum on a .com that hasn't been updated in a decade.
It's just a bunch of old men shaking their canes at
Yeah,
you.
there's no Facebook group, there's no Instagram, no nothing for Z8 owners. So anyway, I looked for about 18 months. My criteria were pretty simple. On these cars, not a lot to look out for, but I wanted silver on black because I can't afford to buy one of these. So the main financier of this project, of which I am a part of, demanded that color combination. Otherwise, I would have looked for black on red.
That's the correct color
That is the
combo.
correct color combination for that car, but I'm happy to have a Z8. So
Well, actually, I mean, you were able to afford it probably because it was silver on black. I feel like that would help the value.
it
Or help
They-
lower the value.
yeah, it does. I mean, it's the most common color combo, but not by much.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was 37% of them were sold in that color combo. So
How many color combos were there?
a lot because you could do individual on these cars.
So 37%.
Main color
Yeah.
combos 4.
Okay.
So there's that. I was looking for performance brace. What that is, these cars were all aluminum, first generation aluminum monocoque cars. Which
those are known
great
for-
technology, but they're a little bendy wibbly wobbly.
Yeah.
So the performance brace is a steel piece that goes. It's actually nutserty. You drill into the car, put nutserts in it, and there's a brace that goes between the engine block and the air boxes
Okay.
that keeps the strut towers from warping inward and
Yeah.
jamming the hood shut.
Mini
Very
Coopers had that issue.
a lot of cars, honestly, even like the steel BMWs of that era, the M cars have
Wow,
that
really?
issue.
Oh,
yeah,
weird.
it's not a big enough problem where you have to pay attention to it because it doesn't make the hood not open like
But-
it does on a Z8.
Yeah, but it's the thing that happens. Yeah.
Right. So there's that. Again, color combination. The leather on the dash, because of course the interior is all leather. If the car's been parked outside a lot, it'll peel up and you have to replace the entire dash.
What?
Yep. The plastic headlight housing lenses,
Yeah.
still available, of course, because every part on a Z8 is for 50 years. Very expensive if they're foggy. All of the turn signals on the car are neon tubes. They're not LED, they're neon.
That's actually super cool.
It's really rad, but very expensive. So make sure that those work. Additionally, there is what's called the coffee table book. There were 32 items sold with each Z8.
Yeah.
You got like a hardtop stand, like silk gloves, cell phone, all this kind of crap. One of the items was shipped to the owner after.
Do you have the cell phone with it?
It didn't have it, but I have it now. Yes. I actually have 2 cell phones because he had the phone but no box. I'm like, I need the box. So he bought one and sent it with the car. The coffee table book was the only item that was not supplied with the car new. So you had to buy the car and BMW would ship you the book. What this is, it's actually, I have it right over there. I actually have 2 now. Fun story, which I'm about to get to. It's a roughly 20 by 17 inch black box with Z8 monogrammed on it. And there's a book inside, which is wrapped in the actual leather hide that your car's interior came from. So that leather wrap right there is the same cow that the Z8 interior is from.
Oh, that's actually really cool.
And if you open the folio here, you will see on the first page right there on the cover, that is the actual VIN sticker. It's the duplicate from the B pillar on the car. So that's cool. A matching one-off. And then inside, on the second page, there is a Polaroid photograph from inside the factory of your car before it left.
That's super cool.
I know. So Ryan's looking through the actual book, which did not come with the car. I found it accidentally and bought it on eBay.
For this car, for your actual car?
The VIN matches my actual car.
That's amazing.
So this book I bought completely by accident and for good money, like a low amount of money compared to these things.
Oh my god, that is a neon tube.
Yeah, they're all neon. So the Z8's just fascinating, but
this is a great car.
I know.
I thought this was a cool car, but this is like a really great car.
it's really excellent because it's all aluminum. It's got like the best BMW V8, which doesn't take much to say. Best BMW V8 ever produced. It's got a six-speed manual transmission only. That's the only trans you could get in a regular Z8. And other than the fact that you couldn't get a locking diff in this thing, it has rack and pinion steering. No other BMW from that era with a V8 had rack and pinion. It's all box steering.
That's super cool.
But just the attention to detail, like
Does it tell you the name of the cow?
No, I assume it was probably like Gordon or something. Philip
the cow.
Philip and Gordon probably were used to create this Z8. But anyway, I like I said, the car was missing like 5 of these items. The cell phone is one. It was missing like all but 1 key. There's a little leather zip-up pouch for the 2 main keys. It was missing both of those. It was missing the coffee table book. I did get him to agree to buy all of these things. So in the trunk of my car, there is another coffee table book.
From a different car.
From some other Z8 that he bought. But before I even got the car, which incidentally took 2 months, which I'll get to in a second.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, there's a lot more to this story, but I'm going to try to go through as quickly as I can to get under an hour and 15 here. Never ever buy a car between Christmas and New Year out of state.
Why?
It is the worst possible thing you can possibly imagine.
Because I imagine that person's probably never around.
Well, the thing is, the main financier of this project was my father, who was really into the Z8. He didn't know how much I loved Z8s and just discredited it because I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Until we got into this process. So,
that's
found
me
the
with
car
some cars, yes.
in early December of last year.
Okay.
Sent a bunch of messages confirming condition, getting pictures of the neons working, asking what's missing, agreeing to certain terms, this and that. Finally agreed to purchase it. I made a purchase agreement on December 20th, 2019. It took a week to get him a deposit. After 4 days to get the actual purchase agreement signed.
Who took so long? What took so long? Why did it take 4 days to get the purchase?
Basically, the car was at a Porsche performance shop in L.A.
Okay.
It was owned by the owner of that shop, but it was titled in his cousin's name.
What?
She lives 50 minutes away from him. So every single process with this car required a visit to his cousin. The check had to be made out to his cousin. That required signature confirmation. His cousin's a doctor who is never at home. So there's a post office wait involved with every one of these steps. So essentially, the deposit was the easiest part because I just paid the deposit. The actual purchase agreement required a wet signature. So that took a week. After that, my dad was on a cruise ship in the Mediterranean, so we couldn't wire money. So this involved a personal check for $128,000, which was mailed directly to her, which took a week to get in deposit. Then, after the typical 5-day hold for a personal check in that amount, the bank still wasn't comfortable, so they held it another 5 days arbitrarily. Then, after that, I started having issues getting in touch with my shipper, which I selected. Then, after that, 3 weeks later, I was finally able to get the car collected. All of the documentation, paperwork, and title were to be sent up to me via mail, whereas one key in the car with all of the other accessories were to be brought up by the shipper. I got the paperwork and the title in a USPS flat rate mailer. The bottom corner of this mailer when I picked it up at the post office was completely missing. I'm like, oh no, all the keys will have fallen out of this. Got home, no keys. Text the guy. I'm like, I got it. All the paperwork is fine, but the keys are gone. He's like, oh, I can't get the keys. Not until you send me a scanned copy of the vehicle registration in Minnesota. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, it hasn't been registered for 2 years in California because it's been parked. I'm like, okay, fine. So the dealer in California wants active registration, not a title. Different than Minnesota, but I accept. So I get the paperwork, pull the title out. It's there. It's exactly as it was scanned. They didn't sign the damn thing. So I had to mail the title back to him. It took a week after he got it from the post office with signature confirmation he wasn't around to get his cousin to sign it in 2 spots, which I highlighted. I just got that back on Tuesday. And now I have to coordinate a time to go to the DMV with my dad to actually transfer this over to us.
Oh, and mind you, one second, time out. DMV, let's talk about that, because right now Minnesota is stupid, and they couldn't figure out how to get their ass off their shoulders, their IDs for the last 5 years.
Oh,
so now there's just like mad dash for real ID stuff for us to be able to like go on planes.
Every DMV wait right now is 2 hours.
Yeah, to get a ticket.
Anything.
Yeah, no, to get a ticket.
No. Roseville, you can get a ticket immediately, but it takes 2 hours to get to see somebody.
God, it's so bad. I know, because
I have many more DMV stories, but
this is very irritating. Anyway.
So anyway, I have finally the signed title, the paperwork. Once I have the scanned copy of the registration from Minnesota, I have to email that to the seller. He has to take that to his dealership, order the performance brace, which the car was missing when I got it, even though I confirmed as my first question in writing that the car had. I said, yes, it does have the performance brace. Get it here, super excited. Come on a Tuesday night, the thing's ready. Shipper was a retard, but I got it, finally.
I saw your photo of you in the truck.
You forgot to mention
I'm not even going to touch on the shipping because this was such a clusterfuck. But anyway, I got the car, pull it inside. My dad's down here. This is like his dream car. This is his. I got this man. He doesn't smile very often. He was like giggling like a schoolgirl on the driver's seat of this thing.
I've seen a slight smirk.
I've only seen your dad actually smile once.
I'll show you a picture of the podcast.
That's when
he was like
looking at Mark's Lamborghini. That was the only time I've ever seen him actually smile.
Adores the Z8, and I was feeling like that till I popped the hood, and the performance brace isn't under the hood of this car. I'm like, are you kidding me? But to the guy's credit, this car is immaculate. I have been looking for a year and a half, and this thing is high miles. This thing's 40,000 miles. Oof. More than double what most Z8s are. Perfect. I've never seen one in as nice a condition as ours.
That's wonderful.
So really stoked on that, but like we are not even at the end of the tunnel here.
No, you're still well within the process.
And I'm 2 months plus in. So I will say, if you want a very expensive car, doing what I did is still wise, because I bet you there were a lot of people that wanted this car, but they were turned off by the fact that it wasn't titled in his name, it wasn't currently registered, any number of things like that. But that's how you get the deals.
Yeah, that's true.
So all in, the guy's he responds to every message immediately. I'm not worried.
It's not the seller himself. It's just all the other trash that's going along with it.
He and I are both middlemen, and I think we both understand that. So we're both really, really receptive to the delays.
Oh, my God.
But, I mean, originally the purchase agreement was like, this is a done deal. The car gets picked up January 3rd, 2020.
And
I didn't end up getting it until like a month after that.
It's February 15th.
Exactly.
Right,
so I've had the car for like 2 weeks now. But even still.
Couldn't you and your father have just flown to Los Angeles?
It was December. Otherwise, we would have driven it back.
As I say, like you could have easily just like flown to Los Angeles.
Again,
did all this in person.
Had this happened in 2 weeks on either end of this, where we could have wired the money, it would have taken a week. No problem. Other than the title signature problem, but if we were there, it wouldn't have been a problem.
As I say, like you could easily, with the amount of just like your time. So, how much do you make per year?
My day job, I make like 70 to 75.
So you make $75,000 a year. If you break that down 2 weeks of your life, like that's several $1,000s.
And
that you are.
to my father's credit, bless his heart, he credited me $1,000 of ownership because I dealt with this.
But I mean, I guess my other thing is not only that, but your father also probably makes 6 figures because he's buying at least
Deep into it, yes.
Yeah. So your dad definitely makes 6 figures, and he is dealing with this. So you have now spent effectively several Honda Civics worth of your time dealing with this when you could have just bought a first class ticket on a flight at peak hours.
You know, the kicker is, before I even sent the deposit, I looked up flights and confirmed a day that would work for me to fly out there and deal with this. But I didn't do it because it would have taken 2 paid days off of my work schedule.
This has taken much more time.
I understand that, Ryan.
So in the
But
future.
how much of the car's value would have been lost on the drive home?
It's probably a pretty substantial amount. 'cause
No, you don't even drive it home. You don't drive it home. You just do that to save you the messing around.
We would have driven it at that point.
Well, no, I mean just the amount of just to say in hindsight.
I'm fine with how it went, but I wish it had all happened a lot more quickly. Because
Yeah,
it's
you've got
been
a fun
really
story.
stressful. Like, before I got the car and the title, we just wrote them a check for $128,000.
Hope this all works out, I
Yep.
guess.
But I mean, I've done enough car transactions where it doesn't matter the dollar
It
amount.
also
You
it
know
must
if
be,
the person
it must
is
be
sketchy.
really it must be really
Right
nice having just $120,000 you can write a check for.
It was sitting on my kitchen table. Modi was just batting it around.
Oh God.
If your dad wants to pay off my credit card
That's
for
not
me,
how that works.
it's literally a fraction of that.
Yeah, no, even buying. So I bought in. I'll level with you guys. I bought in at 10% of this car.
Okay.
And I have a decent amount of cash reserves. I'm $6,000 in the hole.
Oh God!
Just with 10%. So I can't even afford to look at this car except for the fact that I own part of it now. But
Oh, man.
anyway, the Z8's lovely. If you guys want to see the actual car, head on over to youtube.com/ just search oval bore on
Bring
YouTube.
tissues.
You'll find it, and bring tissues because
Lot of
it's
Kleenex.
very sexy.
It's a great car. I mean that's coming from
lotion,
somebody
too.
that I like my very cheap and cheerful cars because
Me
I'm
too.
a very poor person.
The last time I bought a car between the dollar amounts of $1,000 and $100,000 is a long time.
I'm trying to think of my van.
My van was free, and
Like-
that's all I can afford.
So-
The last several
that's-
cars I bought have been like $1,000. So
That's a pretty wild story.
I can only afford free cars. That's it.
So
that's fine. Free cars are good.
Yeah.
I
Bandit's
think
great.
this is a wonderful time to end the episode.
I think
so
you're
we can
right.
go walk down to the other unit and take a look at your father's.
Looks
It's the Z8.
So much better in
The
person.
Z8 is
couldn't
that's
believe that.
that's the thing about Z8 is Z8 when you look at it on the internet
So
does
my-
not matter, but
And
when
it's
you
got
see
the
it in
hard top
person,
on it right now.
My
too.
when you
friend-
see it in person, it's better.
My friend sent me a
Yes.
picture, a Snapchat of her in a late 90s, early 2000s Jaguar, saying that she was a spoiled wife. Can I take a picture in front of the Z8 and say I'm a spoiled friend and just be like, I'm cooler than you?
Sure.
Jaguar
Yeah, I
suck.
mean-
I mean, it's dirty and has a hard top on it, but
That's
it's
fine.
still.
It's still better than a 90s, early 2000 Jaguar. So
Honestly, she doesn't know anything about cars because
She
she's excited
doesn't.
about Jaguar.
Yeah.
You should
So you should do it in front of the Lamborghini.
yeah,
then.
show him
Lamborghini.
yeah, in
I'll just
front of
take
Jen
pictures in
Jameson's
front
car.
of like everything in this garage and be like, ha!
Go to that end and hold your camera as far in front of you as you can. And be
I'll
like,
just live stream it and be like, look at what I get to
Nah,
be
your,
around.
Your outfit's not skimpy enough. Sorry.
Oh God.
Oh.
Well, I've got a bralette underneath this. We'll be fine.
That's not that skimpy.
It's fine.
That's like totally yoga
I don't
worthy.
have any boobs to show
Anyway,
off, so it's fine.
thank you for listening to
Thanks,
Carbitrage,
guys.
and catch us next week.
Yep.
Bye.
Thank you.
bye
Bye.
bye.